Howdy, Patriots. Crazy Hawk 99 here. So I don't do New Year's resolutions, but this year I did. About 15 minutes before midnight, I told myself I won't buy any more guns I don't need. But I still had 15 minutes left, so I bought a gun. Not a big deal, right? But I wanted to see what can you get for $150. Now you probably see the box in front of me. When you think $150, you're probably thinking HiPoint, right? Now, personally, I'm not even sure if I've even held a HiPoint. I definitely don't own one, but that's beside the point. But guns I don't need is probably another striker fired gun. I've got so many striker fired guns, it's unbelievable. Um, Canics and a lot of Glocks and Walthers and, uh, M&P Shields and, heck, the list goes on. But I wanted to find out what $150 would get you. I say $150. This is a Stoeger STR9. List for $250. It was on sale for $200, and there was a $50 rebate. So $150, not counting shipping and FFL transfer fees. We know we got to deal with that. A little picture of it on the back there. But I wanted to see what that will get you. So I bought it. Got it about a week ago. I'm just now getting around to doing this video. Haven't shot it yet. I want to roll that footage in at the end of this, but this is a tabletop first impressions, initial impressions, whatever you want to call it. And without further ado, let's open it up and see what we got here. Now, obviously, the Stoeger STR9 is a 9mm handgun, striker fired. We already know that, right? Unboxing. Got a blue bag and a gun inside of it. Let's go ahead and safety check this rascal. It's all clear. Drop the mag. And there you go. Looks like a striker fired gun for sure. It's got a little Stoeger STR9 band on it. We're going to take that off so we can get a feel for the gun. Don't need that right now. So you get the gun, you get a magazine, get an owner's manual. I don't know what I'd do without that. And you get a little Allen key. Not sure what that's for yet. We'll leave that in the box so I don't lose it. And you get a little no frills mag loader. When I say no frills, it is no frills. But that is what it is. It's $150, right? So let's set all that aside and talk about this gun a little bit. The Stoeger STR9. It compares, I believe, with a Glock 17 and or a Glock 19. I happen to have a Glock 19 Gen 4 here. And we'll hold them up side by side to see what we're looking at. I haven't done this. This is I've had it out of the box, but I haven't actually held it up and compared it to anything. So you got the Glock 19 on the front where you're viewing it, and the Glock 17, or the front towards you is the Glock 19, and the Stoeger on the back. Very comparable. The height difference is about 1/4 inch with the Glock 19 being shorter, and barrel length maybe 1/4 inch with the Glock 19. So it may be a little bit more comparable to a Glock 17. I don't think I own a Glock 17. I have a Glock 22. But this is a Gen 4 Glock 19, by the way, if that matters. I don't know that it does. And thickness, I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to eyeball it. It looks comparable, in thickness. I don't know if you're catching that or not. But, all things considered, it's a little bit bigger in height and length. Width is, as far as I can tell, about the same. We'll set the Glock 19 down and talk about this rascal. The slide has different serrations than the Glocks are vertical, and this has angled slide or angled serrations on it. And there's actually a contour on the top of the slide as well. It holds, or it comes, this model anyway, there's different versions of this. You can get different package deals. But this one comes with the standard 3-dot sights, which I don't love. I prefer a blacked out rear sight and a night vision, or at least a high visibility front sight, but they're functional for typical use. I don't know if they are the same cutouts as Glocks. I've heard rumors, well, the front certainly isn't because the front's dovetailed. I've heard rumors that they may be Smith & Wesson dovetails. I haven't confirmed that, but that's what I've heard. What else we got? Sights. They're not night sights, not on this model. The capacity is 15 plus 1, I believe. Yeah, 15 plus 1, same as the Glock 19. You do have some finger groove cutouts here. Some people may not like that. It doesn't bother me. I'm probably not a good enough shooter to make a difference, to be frank with you. Features on the gun. It does have a slide release set for a right-hander, but it is interchangeable for a left-hander. It comes with a extended. This looks like very similar to a factory. I say a factory, an OEM Glock extended slide release, and the slide takedowns look very similar to a standard Glock. It does have a loaded chamber indicator on the top here, and other than that, I think that's about it. I do have a cheat sheet here so I don't forget anything. Oh, interchangeable back straps. I'm pretty sure the medium is on it. I didn't take it off. And let me just skip to the chase. It feels really good in my hand. I mean, it really does feel good. I'm not going to lie. Size-wise, I have pretty much a medium across the board hand, I believe, and it feels really good in the hand. The grip shape, size, and the texture on the back strap. There's a little bit of texture on the front strap too, not as much as the back strap. Feels good. Pick rail, or a 1913 rail on the front here with 3 slots. What else can we talk about? Magazines, kind of covered at 15 plus 1. They are Mekar magazines, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I thought I saw that somewhere. Made in Italy, so I would bet they're Mekar magazines, which are good magazines. Let's see, mag release we talked about. The weight, they claim this to be with a magazine unloaded, 25.57 ounces. I didn't weigh it. It's not critical for me. Backstrap we covered. Yep. Mags, holsters. The internet tells me that this will fit in a Glock holster. So I have a couple here. Now the internet's going to crucify me probably because I like hybrid holsters. I'm not an operator. I like a hybrid holster. It's comfortable, and if it's not comfortable, I won't wear it. Take that for what it is, but I know the true operator type of guys don't like hybrid holsters. They like all Kydex or polymer holsters, and it does fit in there. It doesn't click into place like the Glock 19 does. Here, I don't know if you can kind of clear it the way the Kydex is formed. But that said, in this other this is also a crossbreed. This one doesn't click in either. I actually need to do a little heating and reforming of my own to make it kind of be more a little positive. But let me try it in this holster. Yeah, same. It goes in. And if you wanted it to fit a little better, if you had any difficulties, taking little baby steps, you can heat these up with probably not a hairdryer, probably wouldn't do it, but not a blowtorch. Ooh, good coffee. A heat gun, but again on a very low setting, and less is more kind of thing. And then what you can do, one area I like to concentrate on is the ejection port area, and just heat it a little bit and press it down a little bit and let it cool, and then try it then. But you don't want to do too much of it. If it's too much resistance, then you heat it up while it's still warm, you pull it out, and that'll reform it. But Kydex is pretty easy to mess with, but it's also easy to mess up. So let's put the Glock back. Oh, triggers. Didn't talk too much about triggers. I can't compare the triggers because this Glock has an aftermarket trigger on it, and I don't know whose it is. I forget. Um, I shouldn't say I can't compare it. It won't be an apples to apples comparing a Glock trigger. This trigger is not bad. Drop the mag out so I don't have to keep doing that. And the reset, well, that one didn't even reset. That's interesting. There we go. Okay. And comparing the Stoeger, drop the mag out. Got a little more reset in it, but that's an aftermarket trigger too. And the trigger pull is not bad on it. I should say the brake's not bad on it for a striker fired gun. Now, that said, it's not a Canic, which those are my absolute favorite striker fired triggers, and it's not a Walther PPQ, which is my second favorite. You know, to each their own. Your mileage may vary, but it doesn't feel bad. And like I said, the gun feels good in your hand. It's nice shape for me anyway. With these medium, which I suppose is a medium backstrap on there. I don't know if I can tell. Pardon me while I roll out of here and try to get my light, which I carry with me everywhere. At least from this perspective, I can't see that it's labeled, but it's probably not visible there. So holsters, you know, a dedicated holster is going to be the way to go if you can find one for sure, no doubt. But it looks like you can make most Glock holsters work if you want to, and you already have Glock holsters. Certainly, that's something to consider. So I don't know. I'm probably leaving something out, but you get a lot of gun for $150. Now I haven't shot it yet. We're gonna roll that forward and see if I still have it when I do a conclusion at the end. But initial impressions, $150 can't go wrong. I mean, people are budget restricted. This is a viable option in my opinion so far. We'll shoot it and see. Now I didn't take it apart. Let's do that real quick. See if I can do that without making myself look stupid. It breaks down just like a Glock because it looks like a Glock. And it, for all practical purposes, it acts like a Glock. I don't know if the parts are interchangeable. But, man, I tell you what. I'd be surprised if they're not interchangeable with the Glock parts, to be honest with you. It looks like a Glock. And that's not a bad thing. You know, we're talking about a proven commodity. But backing up, you get, what do you get for $150? At this point, I'd say you get it's looking pretty good. What don't you get for $150? Oh, okay, let's talk about that. You only get one magazine, and these are $35 a piece. I checked their website. I don't know if other mags fit it. I did some quick Googling. I couldn't find any compatible mags. Sometimes you can find other guns that use the same mag. I couldn't, but I didn't spend a lot of time. And you also only get the one backstrap in this particular firearm that I bought, this UPC. For me, that's fine. And for most people, I'd say it's probably going to be good too. But backstraps are like $7 a piece on their website. There's, which I assume this is a medium. The website also has a small and a large, so you get three sizes available. And I forgot to mention, you don't get a fancy plastic box. You get a cardboard box. I'm okay with that because I usually don't use those boxes anyway. The only time I ever use those boxes is when, if, and this is a rare thing, if I decide to get rid of that firearm, trade it or sell it or whatever, then, you know, I try to keep the box and everything together. Not that adds value to it, but that's just me. I just try to do that. But that's it for initial impressions. We're going to cut this here, and at some point in the near future, I'm going to put some rounds down through this, and I'll probably take this out to the range. Haven't shot this gun in a while either. Take this out and kind of compare how they feel. I don't have, like I said, I don't have a Glock 17 to compare, but I think the Glock 19 will be a good, fair comparison. and just in the hand, it feels different than the Glock 19. The grip shape is different, but it feels just as good to me. That's a personal thing. Some people will disagree, and some people probably will agree. But that's all I've got. Take a sip of this. We'll sign off. Crazy Hawk 99. And hopefully right after this, we'll roll right into some shooting footage. Up. Got to jump right back in again. I forgot to mention something when I rolled up what $150 can get you. I totally messed this up, so I'm going to splice this in before the shooting footage. And it won't get you a knife. But in my case, it included a holster, a Kydex holster, a paddle style holster. And that gum, man, I tell you what, let's put this thing back together and see what that holster feels like. For 150 bucks, a lot of gun, holster. Well, you can't go wrong. Or at least I didn't think I could. So, and it looks like this holster is cut for a suppressor sights if that's was your cup of tea. I don't think you'll get the suppressor through the holster, but if you had suppressor sights on there, you'd be okay. Now, this is not a threaded barrel, but so there you go. I wanted to add that in there. Sorry I didn't catch that earlier, but I thought it was important value-wise to add the value to the whole package. What we showed up, yeah, we didn't get a backstrap, we didn't get another magazine, and but we did get a paddle holster, which is good for range use. Okay, Crazy Hawk 99 here. We're going to give this Stoeger STR9 some rounds down range. I got some steel plate set up down there about 25 yards, something like that. I think it's about an 8-inch plate. This isn't so much an precision accuracy test as it is just a feel for the gun and how it shoots. We're shooting, well, we got here some Herters, a brass case, 115 grain. Full metal jacket. So without further ado, and I have not cleaned this firearm. This is just like it came out of the box. See how she does. That's a hit. That's two. Low on that one. Hit. 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 I think that was low too. I think I dropped two of them. Not too bad. This trigger's really nice on this thing. I like it. I think I spoke about the 3 white dots. They're fine for the range. As I mentioned, I don't really like that style for a carry gun because it's a little busy. And if you do have the 3 dots, I like the front dot to be a different color for a carry gun than the back ones, but my preferred is the back blacked out and a high vis on the front. So that felt pretty good in the hand. We'll try some of the 115 grain steel case Winchester Forge and see how it does with that. Okay, Winchester 115 grain full metal jacket, the steel case. Not bad. I think I probably dropped about half of them that time, but I think that's probably on me. Just rushing a little bit. I don't get it at the range near as much as I should. Not making excuses. A miss is a miss. But it fed that steel case fine. No issues there. So far with this gun, I've got no complaints. I mean, $150, are you kidding me? And it feels really good in the hand. I really like the way it feels. I'd change out the sights if I was going to use it for a carry gun, but I am not going to use it for a carry gun. I've already got more compact carry guns. but the accuracy's there. I'm not shooting for groups or anything like that, but 25 yards, I've got, 75% or higher on target out of 20 rounds. So yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about it. The trigger's nice, the reset's nice, so I think I'll keep it. I've lost track of how many takes this is for this final wrapping up video. It's been a few, one thing or the other, and I'm usually a one shot and done, bloopers and all, but it was just, I'm not even going to go into it. But what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up the extended initial impressions on this STR9 Stoeger. As you can tell by now, I really like the gun. It is it shoots well. I didn't shoot it for groups. Don't really have the time for that, and that's not I don't know. Anyway, but it, as I said multiple times, it's very ergonomic in the hand. It fits my hand. I have medium hands, and it fits my hand really well. It does have finger cutouts or finger grooves here. Some people don't like those. It's a little different than the ones on like a Glock Gen 4, but it does have the finger grooves. I don't think I covered the texture of the grip before, but it has a medium texture on the sides and the front, and a more aggressive on the back strap. And I kind of like that. I don't really like aggressive texture on the side because it kind of chafes if you're wearing it inside the waistband or whatnot. I'm not, but still I don't prefer that. It's got a nice cut on the slides. The only thing that I would change about it, like I've mentioned, is the sights, and we'll talk a little bit about sights again. I won't beat the three dot sight thing up, but it just has white sights on it. I like them better than stock Glock sights. If you're familiar with that rear Glock channel, I don't like that at all. It's functional. I don't prefer it. I would rather have dots if I'm going to have anything. But I would put, if I was going to use this for a carry gun or a home defense gun, I'd put night sights on it. A lot of people like fiber optic sights, particularly the front one, and they are nice. The light, the sun really magnifies through the tube and really brightens that dot up for you. But at night, they're pretty much useless, to be honest with you, because they don't have any light to magnify, and so then you really have a blacked out sight. Still somewhat functional, but not to the level of actually night sights with tritium. So that's what I recommend if you can afford it. If you can't, you can't, right? It's oftentimes about money. But it's very comparable to a Glock. I mean, other than the specific feel of the grip, the size-wise, they're very comparable. This is a Gen 4 Glock 19, and the Stoeger is slightly bigger, although they have the same capacity. The Stoeger grip is a little longer, and the barrels or the frames, the slide assembly is a little longer. This is a 19X, also a Gen 4, but they're almost exactly the same size. The slide's about the same size. I'm not measuring anything, just looking at it, and the grip frame is the same general length. The difference is, with this, you're getting 17 rounds with the Glock, and you're only getting 15 in the magazine with the Stoeger, which is the same as the regular 19. That's not a big deal, but it is something to point out. What else can we talk about this gun? Trigger. I've already said I really like the trigger. I'm not a big guy that measures trigger pulls, but I did do some measurements just for the people that care, and it's kind of hard to compare one gun to another because of the way the place where you want to grab the trigger in kind of the same place to get a similar mark. And that came out to be 5 pounds 4 ounces. So that's just one pull. I checked all three of these guns just to give you an idea. And what I did was I did four pulls on each gun. I threw out the high or low of each one, and then I averaged the other three. And this gun came out to be 5 pounds 9 ounces. The 19X. Now this gun has an aftermarket trigger. It's an Apex trigger. It's not cheap. And this has got the 19X stock trigger in it. It's 5 pounds 7 ounces, and then for the Stoeger, 5 pounds 7 ounces average. You're talking average of the group. But here's the thing: trigger, the weight doesn't tell you everything. As a matter of fact, it's not necessarily the most important thing. Certainly not to me. The way the trigger, the take up, how it feels, how clean it is, and how it breaks. Now these are striker fired pistols, so you're not going to get like a glass rod break like on a nice 1911 or something like that. You're just not going to get that. And that's also why, so there's a lot of variation from one test of the trigger pull to the next test of the trigger pull. The striker system is just not as crisp as a hammer fired gun is, but it still has a very nice trigger, and it has a really nice reset. For the price point, man, you can't go wrong with this thing, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about price. This thing, I think I told you, the normal price at Botac was $250. It was on sale for $200, and Stoeger had a $50 rebate. So I got it for $150 plus shipping and plus FFL transfer. FFL transfer, you're going to get it. You're going to pay anyway, unless you're buying it in the store. So for $150, that's why I've titled this video "Cheaper than a HiPoint and as good as a Glock," and with a question mark, right? I don't know if it's as good as a Glock because I don't have the time with it, but it seems to be. It should be, because the internals look like they are Glock internals. If they're not, they're knockoff copies. HiPoints right now, street price $180. So it's cheaper than a HiPoint. Now, that's what the version I got. The version I got was standard 3-dot white sights. They're not night sights. There's no optics cut, and you only get one backstrap and one magazine. So it's a kind of a bare bones deal. You definitely, if you're going to buy this, I think for a lot of people, this backstrap's going to work anyway. But if you got really big hands, you're going to want a bigger backstrap. I think I talked about the price of those components in my first video. You probably want to pick up a bigger backstrap. Or if you have small hands, maybe a smaller one. You definitely want to pick up a couple magazines if you're going to use this for anything but a range gun. Even a range gun, it's nice to have more than one magazine. But for comparing it, as I've done, for, let's just say $200 is what Botac still pricing these at $200. The rebate's no longer in effect. But for $200, if you can get this, compared to a Glock, and if you had the money, I'd buy a Glock. Let's be real, right? But you're talking about $450-ish somewhere for a Glock 19. This 19X, you're more like $550 to $600, right? So a lot more money, and you can buy a lot of ammo. You can do a lot of range time, getting a feel for it for this money. So I have no problem at all recommending this gun. I've made a couple notes on here. I want to make sure I don't forget anything. I'll just talk a little bit about sights. Like I said, I definitely replaced these. Other than that, replacing sights, if I was going to use it, it's going to be a great, it's a little big for a carry gun unless you're a big guy, or a winter carry gun where you've got a hoodie over, you're wearing a jacket or something like that, no problem. For a summer carry gun, unless you're a pretty big dude, big frame person, this is kind of a big gun. But this would be a great home defense weapon, your car or truck weapon, or whatever the case may be. This would be good for that purpose. And if you're in the market for a gun, the guns in this price range that probably have decent reputations, would probably be a Taurus for the similar money. Now, I know there are a lot of people that don't like Taurus. They used to be a company that didn't make that great of a weapon, but I think they've come a long way from everything I've seen, and their customer service is on point. Now, hopefully you don't have to deal with the customer service, but any gun can have a malfunction. It's always nice to have a company that has good customer service. Let's see. I did use this Wheeler electronic deal. I've not calibrated. I don't know how accurate it is. I have nothing to compare it with. I have a manual one. I should compare it one of these days from one to the next, but I haven't done that. And trigger pull, like I said, it's more about how the trigger feels than how heavy it is. That goes for a rifle with me, or a handgun for that matter. Either way, I've had some Glocks. Matter of fact, my 43X that I carried for a while, I even put an aftermarket trigger in it and spent some money on that. and I didn't like the trigger. And normally I'm okay with Glock triggers. I've got a Glock 26/27, couple 19s, these 19s. I've got a LE turn-in Gen 2, Glock 22, that I replaced the trigger because it had a law enforcement trigger on it. That was horrendous. But I put a standard Glock trigger in it, I believe. I'd have to look at that gun. But I normally am okay with Glock triggers. That 43X, my sample size of 1 sucked. And I forget what trigger I put in it, but it didn't improve it much either. Cheaper than a HiPoint, as good as a Glock. If you get the chance to shoot one, you let me know what you think. That's going to do it for this video. I'll just say I'd appreciate if you do a like and a subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, check us out, Freedom Unfurled. We're a freedom-oriented, constitutional-oriented kind of a page. But I do a lot of gun stuff on there too, because I think the two go hand in hand. As far as YouTube goes, again, I appreciate the subscriptions. Just because the more subscribers you have, the more visibility that your video gets out there, not just subscribers, but YouTube shares it more, or populates it more. As far as monetization and making money off of them, that's not going to happen. So I'm not getting anything out of that. That's not why I'm saying it. YouTube has demonetized all of the gun channels. I was never monetized. I don't have enough subscribers. But YouTube's demonetized the gun channels anyway. So, commies be what commies are. If I could get a video to upload to Rumble, I would switch over to Rumble. But I've never had luck with that. So if you got any tips there, drop them down in the comments. Speaking of the comments, please, questions, comments, drop them below. I try to answer every single one. I think I'm about 99.9% on that. And I don't expect you to make a positive comment. If you got something negative, correct me on something, or something I said wrong, please do. I'm all about looking inside myself and trying to be better most times. Not always. Who is? But heck, that's about all I've got. Don't want to beat any of these horses anymore, these dead horses anymore than I already have. But I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate your time. Have a Freedom Unfurled day.